Hello everybody, good afternoon. This is Bishwajit Datta, Director, CLAT, and CLAT is an educational entity of Success Ahead Education Services, and that deals with various law entrance examinations, especially related to law, and that is CLAT and Ailet. CLAT is Common Law Admission Test and Ailet is All India Law Entrance Test conducted by National Law University, Delhi. Today I am going to discuss about the logical reasoning part for CLAT, very specifically the logical reasoning section for CLAT. You must be knowing that this is a very important section with respect to CLAT, and why logical reasoning is important, I am going to put it in the form of orientation lecture. This particular topic is absolutely going to be taken in the undergraduate program in the entrance examination for the 5 years of integrated law program in the National Law University. So, let us move on and talk about this particular program. So, what is logical reasoning and why it is important? See, logical reasoning is a broad group of aptitude problems which basically tests a student's problem solving ability, right. So, when I say broad group of problems, so I mean a spectrum of problems, spectrum of topics that you are supposed to do in this particular section. Now, this section is basically categorized into two important parts. One is called as the verbal logical reasoning, another one is called as the mathematical logical reasoning. So, what are these two different components of logical reasoning? Let me explain you. When I talk about a verbal logical reasoning, in this particular section you have to isolate, identify the various components of the logical reasoning problem and have to find out a valid conclusion on the facts and the data given to you. It is absolutely based on your language. You need to comprehend the language, apply your logical skills, thinking to find out the answers of the given problems. Whereas in mathematical logical reasoning problems, you are supposed to be given with some data, and the data could be a mathematical data or it could be a alphanumeric data. Sometimes you have lot of data and sometimes you have a small amount of data. Now, what you need to do? You need to analyze all the data, and sometimes you have to arrange those data, and you have to find out the important informations given to that data, need to segregate those data, and on the basis of that you are supposed to find out some 3 to 4 questions based on those data. Now, it is quite possible that you may have a single question on a mathematical reasoning, you may have a bundle of questions in a bunch. That means you have quite a bigger amount of data given to you, and based on that you are supposed to make 4 to 5 questions. So, these are the two different formats of logical reasoning on which we are going to talk today: verbal logical reasoning and mathematical logical reasoning, right. Why it is important? Why logical reasoning is important? So, when I say that we have a spectrum of topics to be covered in this section, and every topic has a specific utilization, or you can say specific amount of importance to judge the capacity or the ability of a person in the problem solving part. It is important because in the business, not just in business, but I must say in life, in fact, you are supposed to encounter a variety of problems, and to solve those variety of problems you need to have these skills to be developed within you, and that could be a logical skills, you can say, or you can say you should be able to analyze the problem, and then you can be able to find out what is the actual solution to be given. But the solution must have a basis. That means you have a reasoning to prove that whatever solution that you are giving, it is absolutely backing with the reason, right. This is all that you need to know. Number 2, it also helps you to create a problem solving ability in the candidate's mind. That means over a period of practice, over a period of time, when you solve many problems, you always develop a problem solving ability. Number 3, you become creative. That means this is creative thinking basically. So, you have the logic, and logic is how to connect the dots to find out as to what is the final end result of a particular argument or particular fact or a particular mathematical problem. So, it gives you the creative mind, your logical thinking develops, your logical thinking develop, and as a result you become better in your creative thinking and you are able to solve a variety of problems. In fact, when you go to the court, you have to make lot of valid arguments, and still I must say, to make a valid argument, you need to have that logical bend of your mind. That's the reason why this particular section is very, very important. आप अपना जो लीगल रीजनिंग देखते हो ना, इट इज ऑल्सो ए टाइप ऑफ लॉजिकल रीजनिंग. तो लीगल रीजनिंग कोई नया टाइप का रीजनिंग नहीं है, इट इज ऑल्सो ए टाइप ऑफ लॉजिकल रीजनिंग, वेर इन लीगल रीजनिंग यू नीड टू utilize those principles of law, principles of legal to make a valid conclusion out of the facts and the data. So more or less this section is important, not just for the examination point of view, but in fact in life, when you become a good professional, you would be utilizing all these logical reasonings in order to analyze those problems you are supposed to encounter. Let's move on. What is the weightage of this particular section with respect to CLAT? I am sure that you must have gone to the CLAT consortium website and you must have seen it has a coverage of 20%, that is, it is equivalent to 30 questions of the paper. That means out of 150 questions, 30 questions are absolutely for this particular section to be divided across variety of problems. Now, these 30 questions, which makes 20% of the paper, makes lot of difference. Reason being, when I say that a student is going to select in the exam with a score of 90 marks to get a good college, ठीक है, on an average एक normal student को with a normal intelligence he is going to get 90 marks to clear the exam. That means I am identifying a particular cutoff, which I am sure कि 90 would be good score to get a call from the National Law University when the paper, when the standard paper or the toughness of the paper is medium. Okay. So on a standard paper, if 90, okay, if 90 marks would be the requirement to get into a college, then I am sure a student can target 18 to 20 marks out of 30 questions. It's not a big deal. So when you cover those ample of topics, you are able to solve around 18 to 20 questions in the paper. That means you are able to score 18 to 20 marks, and that would be enough to get a call. Now, what is the value of this 18 marks? People do not look at what they have scored and what is its value in the selection. Now, if I say that the cutoff is 90, then 18 out of 90 is 1 by 5. That means it is contributing 20% to your success. So, this 20% is not just the number of questions that are going to come in the paper, but overall whatever you are going to score, keeping in mind that the 90 is going to be the cutoff on which you are scoring 18, I am sure that this particular section is going to contribute 20% in your success. So, do remember this is a very, very important section. Let us move on to the next slide. What are the various types of logical reasoning problems? So, as I said, two types of logical reasoning problem. One is mathematical or a numerical format of logical reasoning. Another one is a verbal format of logical reasoning, absolutely based on your language. So, let us talk about a mathematical format of logical reasoning. What are the topics that you are supposed to study on this particular section? We have alphanumeric series. Alphanumeric series is a part of questions which are basically in the one line format. Okay. It has numbers, sometimes it has alphabet sometimes, or sometimes it has a mixture of both numbers and alphabets. So, you need to have a problem on which you need to put your sense and find out a particular number in the series in a particular manner or in a particular format. In fact, when we start doing problems in the class, we will be able to solve this kind of questions. Analogies, you have a certain relationship between two objects. Compared to that, you have to create a proportionality kind of thing with respect to one object to another that we are supposed to study in analogies. Blood relation is a very fantastic topic. You need to figure out the relationship between two people in a family based on a pictorial presentations that we will do. Calendar, you are supposed to find out the day on a particular date. You need to find out the day on a particular year, all that. This is a very interesting topic. In fact, clock, we look at the clock every day on a daily basis to find out the time. But how does it work? What is the mechanism between the minute hand and the hour hand? How does this particular concept is going to be helpful in calculating lot of mathematical concepts on clock that we will see in this chapter. Coding and decoding, it is a foreign kind of language, right? absolutely very prevalent in most of the entrance examinations. In our examination as a lawyer, sometimes you are going to investigate lot of matters and you are supposed to use this particular concept, right. An information might come to you in the form of a foreign language which is not actually Spanish or Russian or something like that. It is some kind of sign language and you need to decode it. This is the chapter that talks about critical path. You need to minimize your expenses in order to move from one point to another point when there is a huge amount of traffic. This kind of questions might come in the paper. Cuboids and dice, very interesting questions on the orientation of a three-dimensional figure. You need to find out the objects on the different faces of the body, or sometimes some of the important elements in the form of some mathematical data could be utilized to make the questions of cuboid, cube and dice. Data sufficiency, you have been sometimes given a particular story and few limited data, and you need to figure out as to that limited data, is it sufficient to figure out or to make out the conclusion or to make out the solution of a problem or not. That talks in data sufficiency. Decision making. Decision making is a type of problems you will be solving not only in the mathematical format but also in the verbal format. And in decision making, you may have a numerical data to be given on the basis of which you need to make certain decisions, right. Stock market regulations, stock market planning, stock market values, whether it is going to inflate on the next day or it is going to deflate on the next day, all that kind of things. Distance and direction, very simplistic format of questions. Everybody can score on this just to have the understanding of the concept of directions. Input and output are different logical kind of problems, okay, that we will study. Mirror and water image, odd one out, a certain pattern of elements or the objects are given, right. That could be in the form of mathematical language or it may be in the form of a verbal language, and you need to find out which particular element or object is different from the rest of them. Venn diagram is a very important topic, because when data are given in the form of Venn diagram, you are able to solve a lot of difficult critical problems with the help of mathematics and the presentation of data. And puzzles are of many kinds. It could be linear, complex, circular, sometimes there are partially filled data that you need to analyze and find out what are the data that are lost. So, a variety of combinations and permutations are going to be seen on this particular topic called as puzzles. So, it is absolutely very interesting, I must say. And then we have the language on which the verbal logical reasoning is absolutely based. Critical reasoning, cause and effect, course of action, decision making, deductive logic, statement assumption, statement conclusion, statement argument, syllogisms. These are the variety of chapters on which you are supposed to isolate and identify the important informations or facts, okay, or the component of the data which are supposed to summarize the conclusion on a particular theme. So, this is all that you are supposed to put your understanding on the verbal logical reasoning part, wherein the critical reasoning, which is a part of deductive logic and is a subject of verbal logical reasoning, is of mega importance with respect to CLAT preparation. So, we are going to put lot of focus onto this particular section. Let us move on. The special focus, as I said, the special emphasis on deductive logic and critical thinking. I will be talking little amount of element on this particular topic, that is deductive logic. In deductive logic, you will find that it involves a certain principle or a certain rule, right. Based on that, you have to find out or conclude a specific conclusion out of the given data or the presentation, right. This particular kind of reasoning specially, in fact, I must say specially measures and identify whether the candidate is able to make a valid argument or not. Not just that, is he able to make out a conclusion out of the given data or not, right. You do not have any numerical data such that somebody could analyze and find out the quantitative analysis of the data, and then finally he is going to put the conclusion. Here you have the data in the form of a language. So, how argument or assumptions are going to help you to analyze it critically and then to come out the conclusion out of it is all that deductive logic is going to talk about, right. In fact, in CLAT, this particular topic has a great importance. In fact, the CLAT consortium puts lot of emphasis on this particular section. Very importantly, and you can expect around 10 questions in the paper. Sometimes if a standard paper is going to come in front of you, you can expect minimum 8 to 10 questions in the paper. So I hope you understand when I say that 18 marks, I am expecting somebody to clear the exam in the section of logical reasoning. So how those 10 marks are going to put the weightage in the exam or in the paper or in your selection, I hope you understand that. So this particular section is very important. It is not just important because people are going to clear the exam, it is also very important because this would help you in the upcoming, right, agenda of your life when you become a lawyer or you become a professional into this particular field. You are going to do an argument in the court, you are going to analyze the data, you are going to act as a consultant for an organization. This data analysis is of mega importance. That's the reason why CLAT always puts lot of emphasis on the student to be having a lot of ability to analyze such kind of data. All right. Now, when you go to a court, you will have lot of information. Sometimes the informations are important, sometimes you have so many unwanted informations. So how you are able to segregate those data, how you are able to isolate that data, and then how to utilize the important data so that you can bring the result of the case in your favor is how a lawyer or somebody of this particular profession is going to take in this particular section. Also, when you have an argument in the court and the opponent is making a particular argument which has a weightage, your critical thinking, your data analysis, your deductive logic sense helps you to take that argument seriously, apply your thinking mind, apply your thinking, apply your logical bend of mind, and then figure out a counter attack on that argument, right, in order to convince the other party, in fact the judge, to bring the judgment in your favor. So this is all that happen, and this particular section is of that importance, right. So do remember, in deductive logic, we just don't analyze only the verbal logical reasoning part. Sometimes the mathematical values or the components or the data are also been inbuilt in the verbal logic, where you need to also analyze those mathematical logical reasoning part or the mathematical data part. Along with that, critical reasoning, which is a part of deductive logic, and deductive logic is a part of verbal reasoning, right. It talks about, or it caters a different type of logical reasoning problem, with the help of assumptions and arguments, and then properly it would be easy to figure out the conclusions. So these two parts, deductive logic and straightforwardly focusing on the critical reasoning part, to be very important for CLAT. So make sure it is not just in CLAT, I must say. In fact, in Ailet kind of examinations, you will find a total of 10 to 15 questions on this particular concept in the exam. So a lot of weightage. Again and again, I would be telling you not to take this section loosely. You need to take it very seriously, specifically this particular part. Now, I have a small piece of advice for the student for this particular section, because usually students take this section either at number 3 or at number 4. That means when you write a law entrance examination, especially let us say for example CLAT, you must be doing the GK wala part sabse pehle, and then you would be moving on to the legal reasoning part. Then students either go for English or go for logical reasoning part, right. So by the time you will enter into this particular section, you must have exhausted around 50 minutes of your paper. That means you can say, sir, I have done half paper, right. Now the third section is going to decide whether you are in or out. याद रखिएगा, 2 सेक्शन के बाद तीसरा सेक्शन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, और वही सेक्शन बताता है कि आप सिलेक्ट हो रहे हो कि नहीं हो रहे हो. इसलिए इस सेक्शन को बहुत कामली अटेंड करना पड़ता है. तो इफ पीपल आर टेकिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन, राइट, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द थर्ड सेक्शन, नॉट लॉजिकल रीजनिंग सेक्शन, थर्ड सेक्शन. So if people are taking third section as logical reasoning, you need to be extra cautious and extra careful. You need to be very calm, right. Sometimes the logical reasoning problems are not easy, right. if you talk about the 5 different sections of CLAT, English, logical reasoning, okay, maths, legal reasoning and GK, logical reasoning is the most toughest section. Okay. Now what will happen if you have a tough paper and you are not calm, you won't be able to solve the paper और आपका रिदम वहीं टूट जाएगा. 4th सेक्शन में आपको ज़्यादा स्कोर नहीं मिलेगा, 5th सेक्शन आप कर नहीं पाओगे. इसीलिए 3rd सेक्शन पे आपको अपनी एनर्जी बचा के रखना है. और वो कैसे बचाएंगे आप? बीइंग काम इन द पेपर, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली काम इन द पेपर. तो यदि टफ सेक्शन है, पेपर टफ है, लॉजिकल रीजनिंग आपने 3rd सेक्शन पे उठाया है, ठीक है, और आपको थोड़ा बहुत भी बन गया तो वो थोड़ा बहुत से आप सिलेक्ट हो जाओगे, आपका रैंक हो जाएगा. Okay, so you need to be very calm in this particular section so that you can make the optimum output in the paper. See, whatever preparation you have done, ठीक है ना, it does not matter that you have to prepare 100% to make a 100% outcome. Sometimes 60% of preparation can give you one of the better output. So you need to find out what is the optimum output based on the preparation that you have done. So for that you need to be absolutely calm. ठीक है ना, काम रहने से ये वाला सेक्शन आपका अटेम्प्ट बहुत अच्छे से हो जाता है. नेक्स्ट प्रैक्टिस. व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट प्रैक्टिस, मेरे दिमाग में सिर्फ एक ही लाइन याद आता है. यू नो व्हाट? प्रैक्टिस मेक्स ए मैन परफेक्ट. सो इफ यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग, वन डे यू आर गोइंग टू बी परफेक्ट, दैट इज फॉर श्योर, नो डाउट अबाउट इट. ठीक है. लॉजिकल रीजनिंग इज अ टाइप ऑफ सेक्शन वेर इन यू हैव टू कीप ऑन प्रैक्टिसिंग एवरी डे, डे बाय डे, ऑन ए रेगुलर बेसिस. ठीक है. अब इससे फायदा क्या होता है? लॉजिकल रीजनिंग आपका स्ट्रेस लेवल बहुत कम करता है धीरे धीरे. आप ये नहीं हो सकता कि सर मैंने आज लॉजिकल रीजनिंग पढ़ना शुरू किया तो मेरा स्ट्रेस लेवल खत्म होगा. ऐसा नहीं होगा. स्लोली एंड स्मूथली लॉजिकल रीजनिंग सेक्शन इज गोइंग टू डाउनग्रेड योर स्ट्रेस. तो धीरे धीरे आपका स्ट्रेस कम हो जाएगा और आपकी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एबिलिटी बढ़ जाएगी. आप ये बात तो समझ लो that when I talk about mathematical logical reasoning, आपके पास तकरीबन 20 टॉपिक्स होते हैं. when I talk about verbal logical reasoning, आपको तकरीबन 10 टॉपिक होते हैं. तो ये जो 20 और 10, 30 टॉपिक होते हैं ना, हर टॉपिक में एक स्पेसिफिक टाइप ऑफ ट्रेट चाहिए टू मेक इट easy to solve the paper or to attain that proficiency in the paper solving capacity. You need to keep on practicing, थोड़ा थोड़ा धीरे धीरे करके. और जैसे जैसे आपका स्ट्रेस लेवल धीरे कम होता है, आपका डेटा सॉल्विंग एबिलिटी आपकी ऑटोमेटिकली बढ़ जाती है. ठीक है. एंड इट स्टिमुलेट्स योर ब्रेन. लॉजिकल रीजनिंग ऑलवेज स्टिमुलेट्स योर ब्रेन. तो जब भी आप दिन भर पढ़ने के बाद आपको ऐसा लगेगा कि ओ माय गॉड, मेरे को अभी भी डर लग रहा है, व्हाट विल हैपन इन द एग्जाम, मेरा क्लियर होगा नहीं होगा, ऑल सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, इफ इट कम्स इन योर माइंड, स्टार्ट सॉल्विंग लॉजिकल रीजनिंग. इट विल डेफिनेटली decrease your stress level, stimulate your mind, and you will be able to think better and faster. And the last piece of advice, although it is not very useful, but I must say, I could see everybody deviating because of this, and that is cell phones. When you study, do not keep your cell phones with you, keep it somewhere else, and at night when you go for sleep, please deliver it to your parents and get it back on the next day. ठीक है ना. द पावर ऑफ ब्रेन इज गोइंग टू बी लॉस्ट इफ वी कीप ऑन रिपीटिंग, आई मीन इफ यू कीप ऑन यूजिंग दिस सेल फोन्स फॉर ए रेगुलर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. जब आप सेल फोन यूज करते हो ना, यू डू नॉट यूज योर माइंड. आपका माइंड यूज नहीं होता, आप सिर्फ उसको देखते हो. आपका फोकल अटेंशन होता है, और वो भी एक पार्शियल अटेंशन होता है, बिकॉज यू वॉन्ट टू सी वॉट इज नेक्स्ट, बिकॉज एम्पल ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन इज कमिंग, एम्पल ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन आर कमिंग. तो आपको ऐसा लगता है एक गया, आप कौन सा आने वाला है. Right? So you are very much inquisitive as to what is going to come next. So as a result, your focus is not on the present data, but the data which must be coming later. तो इससे क्या होता है ना, आपका ब्रेन का एक्सरसाइज नहीं होता है. So when you are not putting lot of exercises ना, आपका ब्रेन अपना पावर धीरे धीरे लूज करता है. तो जितना हो सके आप सेल फोन्स को यूज कम करो during the time you are preparing for a competitive examinations. Right? I'm sure if you do this, definitely the power of the mind will increase. You are able to stimulate your brain, you are able to take the optimum output from the brain within a fixed limited preparation. It is not necessary that you will prepare the infinite kind of things to make it possible for yourself to select in the exam. It may be sometimes the selective preparations that you do would do much in the examinations. Right? So with this I would end, but in fact let me tell you again that this is with respect to 1 year and 2 year CLAT program that we are going to start from 15th and 16th of June 2020, right. So, the people who have recently written their 10th board examinations, they can join, or the people who have just gone to 12th standard, they too can join for a 1 year program. Recently, this particular program, these two programs are definitely going to be in the online format. Okay. If you wish to carry the online format continuously, there is no problem at all, or if you wish to carry the online program partially and then you want to switch it to the offline program as per the condition and convenience, you would be given that privilege too at the same time, right. And the last thing, I am Bishwajit Datta and you are having this number, that is 9329620356. Just contact me for any further query for this particular section or anything related to CLAT, and you can also connect us in our website with our website, which is successaheadeducation.com. If you want to talk to us on a WhatsApp communication format, you can do so at the same number, that is 9329620356. We are into the same profession for the last decade. In fact, by the time we have seen the NLIU Bhopal conducting the first, in fact, the third exam. First it was Bangalore which conducted the CLAT examination, then it was Nalsar, Hyderabad, and then NLIU Bhopal conducted the exam. So, we started our center by that time. We are one of the oldest, in fact, center in the city, and you will be getting each and everything with quality and quantity. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.